Have you ever gotten on your Mac, unlocked it, and there's a message on the screen that says your Mac is being observed? What is that actually saying? Should you be worried? Hey, my name is Emilio. This is Moonlock. We love macOS security. And if you do as well, why don't you follow along with our channel? We release videos on all things macOS security and more. Subscribe, click on the button on the bell. That way you don't miss out on any of our future video releases. Hey, this video, of course, is sponsored by Moonlock. We love macOS security, and Moonlock is a great product to make sure that your Mac stays safer for longer. You can go and pick it up and try it completely for free for 7 days using our code if you want to go and buy it and use it forever. It is a great piece of software, and it's the best way that you can ensure that your Mac remains safe from malware, from viruses, and more. And it even gives you tips and recommendations about how to keep your Mac running safer, because your Mac unfortunately is vulnerable to attack. So you want to make sure that you are keeping it safer for longer. So go and grab it down below. I've got a link to it, as well as using that coupon code so that you can get yourself a discount. A very common Google search nowadays is "my Mac is being observed," "my Mac is being monitored," or something like that. What does that actually mean? Well, firstly, it doesn't mean that there's somebody that is actually logged into your Mac and poking around. I mean, it sounds pretty scary. It's like having somebody in your home that is checking things in your home without you knowing. I mean, your computer has a lot of your personal information, so you don't want somebody observing your Mac. So the message itself is a macOS generated message, and it can happen when you are screen recording your Mac. If you're doing a screen sharing, if you're doing a remote display access, then that is what macOS is telling you, that something has been given permission to be able to view and observe your Mac. Screen sharing is being used, remote desktop is being used, VNC to actually control your Mac remotely, or there's another Mac accessing your Mac. And that's where you're going to get that message. And you can actually check this setting by going into the system settings, into general and into sharing, and look for the screen sharing or remote management sections. If you don't need these functions turned on, you can always turn them off. Another very common one is that your Mac is just being used for screen recording, and it could be an app. So for example, Zoom or Teams sometimes does need to get access to your Mac so that you can actually share your screen with people on a conference call, on a meeting. This one, you can also go into the system settings and go into privacy and security and check out the screen recording area. Review which apps are listed and enabled. If you don't recognize any of the apps here, you can check those out and investigate further. Now, if your Mac is being used in a workplace, then it could be part of a network or some software that's been put on there by the company that you work for, and that may be completely fine. Sometimes IT or management do need to install security software on computers to make sure that things are being monitored and checked, right? Because they want to make sure the security is there. So that may not be true of just Macs, but also devices such as Windows computers, where there's just some software being installed by an administrator. And you can check this section by going into system settings, into general, and into the device management area. And this is a common, usually expected function on work devices. If you're unsure, go and check with the people that you work with. Go check with IT and the people who are administering computer fleets in an organization. The next one is the accessibility permissions. And this is something that a lot of people unfortunately do overlook and don't actually realize that that is there. You can find this area under the system settings, privacy and security section again, and accessibility. And you want to look in here for automation tools, for password managers, for remote support apps. Only trusted apps should be listed in here. Now, one that we never want to see is the next one, which is actually some spyware or some malware that could actually be installed and running on your computer. And that's where we should start getting concerned. I will just say though that this is not the most common reason that this message does appear. But if you've checked all of these other ones and it still is there, this is where you need to look at getting some good software to run some scans on your computer to identify what's actually going on. So if it is malware, if it is some sort of spyware, what are you looking out for? Now, look, it's not like what you see in the movies, right? Where you got a hacker hacking in and just doing all these crazy things really fast. It doesn't look like this. Often, it is subtle and it is in the background. Recording your keystrokes, is doing screen activity, and is behaving silently in the background. And this is why a good tool like Moonlock is helpful because it can identify things that are suspicious on your Mac, because you don't want some software to be scanning and checking things on your computer. In a worst case scenario, this is commonly how a hacker will jump into a computer. Malware has been installed, spyware has been installed, and it's checking things on your Mac. It's just reviewing your activity, recording your screen, and potentially all that information is being sent to a malicious actor. And we want to stop that and stop that quickly. So if you're concerned that something may be observing your Mac, go and have a look at all those settings that we talked about before. Check for apps that are running in the background. Check your activity monitor, which is always a helpful spot to go and have a look at. The activity monitor lets you know everything that is running. Go and check those accessibility settings. Go and check the screen recording settings, and then also go and install some great software to actually go and scan your Mac to make sure that it is secure. So as I said at the start, just because you see this message doesn't mean you need to be super concerned. If it is a concern after you've done all these other checks, that's when you need to go get some software, go and get Moonlock. You can download it completely for free. We've got the link to it down below. And if you love it, and actually I recommend that you run it quite regularly, because you're gonna need a good piece of software, because the Mac unfortunately is still vulnerable to malware, spyware, and ransomware. Thanks so much for tuning in. Why don't you let us know in the comments, is there anything else that you can actually check on your Mac to make sure that it's running safe and that any of these weird behaviors stop early on. Also subscribe, click on the button on the bell. We release videos on all things Mac OS security, so we'd love it if you do follow along. Click on the bell, that way you are notified when new things are released. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you on the next video.